Okay. Alright. I need to make a bigger pressure flaker. I could pressure flake it with this indirect percussion tool, but it's not that fun to grip onto this part and pressure flake it. It becomes very uncomfortable very soon, so I'm going to just go to a smaller diameter. Again, I'm sorry I don't have the measurement right away. I don't know what size nail that is. It's driven in about 3/4 of an inch, maybe 1 inch, if that. And once this gets down to a nub, I just probably toss the whole thing. I won't take this out and put another one unless it's still very tight. They loosen up, you know what I mean? Especially if you use a softer wood, it'll loosen up. So I'm probably just going to toss the whole thing, the whole flaker. This wood is easy for me to get, and the nails are cheap. And I'm just pressing on the surface. I'm not pressing on the edge of that, on the edge of the stone at all. I'm pressing on the surface and downward. So what I'm doing is strengthening the edge. I'm not trying to drive long flakes inward. I will attack a thick spot and try to flake it back, but I won't try for really long flakes. I'm not going to try for long ones with anything except indirect percussion on this. So I just made a pass here. With that steel nail. And I'll just go around the whole thing. Still pressing on the surface mainly. I never press directly on the edge unless it's very rounded off. That's one thing I'll discuss as far as reviewing John Whitaker's book, where he says put the flaker right on the edge. I never put it directly on the edge unless the edge is perfectly flat, or like on a slab, or very, very rounded, almost circular. If I abrade it a lot, then I can put the flaker, what you would call on the edge. It's still, I still feel like it's on the surface mostly, but it looks like I'm napping the edge. But my next pressure flake is going to be up about this high. The edge, to me, would be like this. I don't nap on the edge. I nap up higher like this and push downward. Even when I'm trying for a longer flake, I'm still up on the surface. That didn't go very far, but that's fine. It's pretty typical. Like I said, you won't usually get long flakes with the steel. Some of you guys are going, maybe that's why I'm not getting long flakes. Yeah, it could be. A soft tool lends itself to maintaining contact with the platform, and that's what you need when you want to press off long flakes or strike with a punch. You want something that absorbs some of the shock and stays in contact with the platform so that it can help, or it can assist in the fracturing for as long as possible. Okay, so I'll switch back to indirect percussion now that I've got a better looking edge. Well, maybe not on the base. Let's turn that edge a little bit closer to the turtle back there. Still not below center line. Well, it might. No, it looks like it's at center line. What if I dropped it below center line? Would I get longer flakes? Yeah, maybe. I also get more of a chance to reverse hinge. At least with me when I do it that way. If I drop it down too far. Alright, so I'm going to start taking some flakes off the base here. First one kind of short. Not too bad. Take a short one and then another long one. It kind of hit that concrete pocket. And then a short one. And then a longer one. So it thinned down the base a lot. Okay, so we'll just continue. Yeah, that little pocket there is going to give me some, it might form an island right there. I got to be careful how I approach that. Those short flakes again. There we go. Yeah, I had to slow it down just a tiny bit. And even though it's nice material, most of it, there are pockets of hard concrete and quartz crystals. There's one in there. Of course, the one in the middle you've seen already. Okay, I'm going to take back this edge so I can run a flake across there. I'm just checking where else it might be thick. And this is for the benefit of the new guys that have been asking me questions. I'm going to try to shoot a very powerful flake across here. I got kind of a continuous platform there. So I can strike anywhere there. I'm probably going to have to strike a couple of times, but I'm going to do, the main strike is going to be here on this point, right there, into the main mass of that hard spot, right where I have the highest lump, just straight across, just a direct attack on that. See how it goes. If I was doing this more conscientiously, I might prepare the sides of that and isolate the platform, but I'm not going to. I'm kind of at an angle instead of straight in, kind of at an angle, because that's how I've been hitting most of these. It focuses the force in a small area, so I know it'll go, and a small area helps to prevent a lot of force just moving the whole point too much. If there's a lot of movement, the angle of force is screwed up. So with a small area of contact and less movement, it should maintain the angle of force much better. I'm going to make sure I hit it on this cap and not down here somewhere where it'll slip. Alrighty. Now sometimes you'll get radial cracks right there on the sides. They'll go into the point the wrong way. They'll be perpendicular. But this one looks like it survived. Took off a pretty good piece. Pretty good flake. You know, I had a pretty good scoop out on the other side, so I wasn't too worried about it reverse hinging or overshooting. So I just had to add what I thought was enough power. And luckily, you know, this is good material here, so once it gets started, it's hard to stop it. Alright, so I don't need to do too much more percussion on this. But I will, just so I can try to remove some longer flakes. That one's pretty good. I'll try again next to it. Another long flake like that would be good. Stop short of where I wanted it to go. A little bit wider than I thought it would be. But that's a ridge that I could work the other way. Well, I could have put it on there and struck it again, and maybe it would have gone all the way if I had struck that again. You know, you could put the flake back on and strike it again if the platform's not too crushed. But I think I can get a flake to travel across that to remove the step. A flake from the side here into the middle. Maybe even a good pressure flake would take that off. I didn't see any more good opportunities with the indirect flaker, so I'm just going to pressure flake around the edges again. Just short flakes in preparation for our next pass of percussion, probably the last pass of percussion that I'll do. So this is just in preparation for one more pass of the indirect percussion flaker. I want to send some flakes in this way, so I'm going to lower the edge and strengthen it. Now, does the steel break the edge apart more than usual? Yeah, it does. And I was also using the non-dressed, kind of broken off tip here to start with. This is the one I should have been using. Oh yeah, and steel does slip. I can't wait to do glass with this pressure flaker. Just kidding. Probably more slipping than a bunch of new kids at the ice skating rink. Let's see. All right, so pressure flake. Yeah, did a pretty good job of removing a lot of that step fracture. That was cool. This is a very hard area. This lighter color area is not that good. And by hard, I mean the hardness of the stone. It's also difficult to flake through, but it's not too bad. It's just the stone is harder in that spot, more crumbly. I'm trying to look through the viewfinder to see what you guys are seeing. Okay, so far so good. I think I've dressed up that edge enough where I can do another pass of percussion. It's been a while since I've done a video out here. I keep hitting the camera. little bit of extra abrading, just to be on the safe side. Even though sometimes extra abrading doesn't work all that well, because if you don't remove a flake the first time, you tend to want to hit harder, and sometimes that's the opposite of what you need. If you hit too hard, you'll snap it. So I'm just attacking straight away. I'm not trying to sneak up on that mass. I'm just going to strike to the middle first. That one didn't work, that first strike. Again, I'm above center. If I can get it to focus. Anyway, I hit above center. You can kind of see where the metal was deposited there, and the subsequent little step fracture. It focuses everywhere except where I want it to. So I'm just going to move over a little bit, hit it again. Yeah, the hardness of that stone is not good. I've gotten the same problem 3 times in a row. The hardness of the stone is just stopping those flakes. I need to lower that platform even more. I just hate to lose some of that width. I'm going to lose about that much. So I want to get past those little step fractures. I got to remove enough of that edge to get up against those step fractures. You know what I mean? I don't want to be hitting into a step. I want to be able to be right up on it, on the actual step fracture, or, pressure flake past it slightly. I probably should be using pressure, but I'm going to use percussion. Just a direct attack to the center. Worked out pretty good. Space it about, 3/16 for the next strike. Again, I'm attacking the center mass of that hump. Seemed to work pretty good. One more time, right in the center of that mass. Here we go. Now the rest I can do it with pressure, but I was just afraid I wouldn't be able to get such bold flakes with pressure. See if I can hit that. Well, it worked kind of. Let's see. There you go. Steel is good for that. That's for sure. Okay. I do need to get rid of this lump here. But I'll wait until I do some more pressure and see how it looks. Nice. And you can see that streak of steel as I was following through. Pretty much the same technique with any tool, just I just don't need to worry as much about snapping the tool itself, so it doesn't matter. I can be very liberal with the force. I just got to make sure I don't overpower the stone and snap off the tip. Whereas with a natural tool, you got to be concerned both about snapping the tip and snapping, both tips. Here in this case, the tip of the tool could snap. I've got a little bit of a bend in the steel here from the pressure flaking, but it's not too bad right now. If it gets bad, I'll just straighten it out a little bit later. This next pressure flake, I'm not on the edge. I'm up slightly on the surface. I'm going to probably have to do some diagrams to show you exactly what's going on, so I can kind of blow this up and show you what I'm doing. It's kind of hard to see where I'm putting the tool tip. On the stone. I'm running into some incipient fractures here. So I lost a lot of width here without wanting to, because there was an incipient crack. I don't know if it'll focus. You can kind of see it there. That's pretty common with these agates or translucent charts. There's little seams in here where you least expect. And it could be because of a percussion strike a little bit earlier. But I find that the mild steel isn't too bad. The harder steel would probably be creating those incipient cracks a lot more often. I was hoping to do maybe 2 or 3 points tonight, but the way this is going, it's going pretty slow. Normally I don't do that back and forth, but in this case I need a really strong edge. Okay, let's see. And I need it so the steel won't crush the edge, because I do want to send in some bold flakes. That one was a little bit too bold. Oh well. Let's see if I can do something from the other side. Tack it from the other side. The edge was strong enough. It's just with the steel you're going to get shorter flakes, and there's a hard space, a hard area. And I was going to take my glove off, but still not small enough for me to take my glove off. I don't want to run that flake into my finger, because I'm going to hit it pretty hard. Alrighty, good deal.